Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm James Holland at jhollandmu, and on today's episode of Will This Foundation Work for My Skin or Will It Disintegrate into an Oily Mess? Yup. We are going to be testing out the Kat Von D True Portrait Foundation. Also, we are going to test out the new Violet Voss Vibes palette. This is a neon palette, which I'm super excited about. I haven't found a neon palette that I'm obsessed with, that I like. So I'm excited to try this one out, try to do a neon eye look for you. So stick around and we will do both of those things, test both these products, and let you know my thoughts. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put on my primer. I'm going to go ahead and use the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I'm gonna go in all around my face with the Hourglass, and then I'm going to get just my T-zone with the e.l.f. Putty Primer just to cover up those pores. These are kind of my two favorite primers right now, just because the Hourglass just sets a nice stage for everything and it works to absorb any of the excess oil, and then the e.l.f. covers up those problem areas, makes it a nice smooth canvas, especially in these areas right here.
I'm a mess.
I'm also going to prime my under eye area, and I'm going to do that with the Silk Peony from Tatcha. This just kind of creates a smooth canvas, especially under your eye right here, so that when you put concealer on, it has less of a chance to sink into those fine lines, those wrinkles under your eyes. The Kat Von D Tree Booze.
There ain't funny, Tammy. Don't start laughing. Just who you want it from?
The Kat Von D True Portrait Lightweight Medium Coverage Foundation is $36. Anytime I see that 3 in front as the first number for a foundation, I'm like, oh, that's a good price for a foundation. So it's a good price for a mid-range foundation. There are 40 shades in this foundation. It is vegan. It is a liquid to powder formula, which is supposedly good for normal to oily skin. So I'm going to try it out and definitely see how it sits on my skin, because as you know, I'm oily. So we're gonna figure that out. It also said a little bit goes a long way, kind of like my personality.
I'm glad you brung it up because I've been dying to talk about it for a fucking hot minute. First of all,
so we'll see how this sits on my skin. I just put a tiny little bit on my beauty blender, and I'm just going to spread that around. This is a cool tone, but it is a little bit yellow. I got a couple different shades, but they all were just a tiny bit yellow. But it's pretty close to my skin, so it's not like I'm super mad at it. It just would be nice to have a cool tone formula that is actually cool toned and actually more pink than the yellow standard that you get with these lighter colors. I've never tried any Kat Von D products. This is my first Kat Von D product. When I first started in makeup, I was kind of led to believe that Kat Von D products were all awful. But I've kind of found out that that's not necessarily the case, and that just because people have kind of negative opinions about the person means they don't like the brand. And I don't know anything about really anything about the brand, about the person. So it's kind of interesting to see the product without any of that prior knowledge. And the only thing I'll kind of say about any drama that the brand may have is, you know, vaccinate your kids. That's all I'm going to say. But as far as the foundation goes, I mean, it's looking really pretty on my skin. You can definitely see where it's starting to sink a little bit into my pores, especially like in my T-zone here. So I'm not super thrilled about that, just because it's just now going on my skin and I worry about what it's gonna look like later. But it's not super heavy, it's not super cakey right now. It has a pretty finish. It's definitely matte, so if you're not a matte person, I know that a lot of people don't like matte finishes right now, and they're like, it's all about the dew, give me the dew. That's fine. Obviously don't get this formula because it's a matte formula. And as I'm applying this with the beauty blender, the foundation is coming up a little bit.
This is exactly what I was afraid of.
So don't press too hard. And it may be that you just kind of need a brush to do this, which is fine. There are plenty of foundations you need to use a brush for. This may be one of them. Maybe the Beauty Blender picks up too much. That liquid to powder formula may be what's throwing it off. So it definitely works a little better with a brush. There's still a little bit of slipping and sliding that's going on, which is concerning to me, but we're gonna figure it out. Maybe once I set it, you'll be good to go. I'm also kind of worried about setting it with a powder, especially because it is a powder finish. But we'll see. What in the world? Okay, we're gonna do fingers.
If I knew that this was gonna be the outcome, like, I would have never done something like this, but you don't know when you're in the moment, and like...
Big yikes on the nose area. Okay, I think we're on. Finally. That was a little rough. Okay, so I definitely do like the finish. It's very hard to put on without it coming up, so I'm not a fan of that. So that's kind of like strike one for me. Strike two is my pore area is a little bit not what I like it to be, but we're gonna try to put powder on top of it and try to fix that with some of the other things we use. So the jury's still out. I do like the color. I like the coverage. I don't like that it literally just came up when I touched it with my fingers. So that wasn't fun. Now what we're gonna do is go into our concealer. While this is all okay on my face, I'm going to use the YSL Brightening Pen and the Stay Naked Concealer and just kind of mix those together to brighten my under eye. Because I don't want to bake, I don't want to do that, I literally just mix them together on my hand, and that way I get the brightening effects without having to put a lot of powder, and also without having to go a concealer that's too light. So I'm literally just taking it and spreading it with my fingers. I like putting my concealer on with my fingers just because I don't like to play around a lot in my under eye area. I don't like to put a sponge down there. Sometimes I will use a sponge just if I want a lot of coverage there and it to be blended really well. But a lot of times I just use my fingers. It's quick, it's easy, I can blend it really well that way, and I don't have to worry about it settling too much into my under eye area. And like I said, just blending gently with my finger, not going too crazy. And then I'm gonna take my Beauty Blender and just kind of blend the edges out up here. Okay, I'm gonna take my Becca Hydra Mist and just quickly set my under eye just with the tiniest little amount of powder, not a ton of powder, because like I said, I don't want it settling into those lines. Okay, a couple other areas I wanna highlight is my chin and then my nose bridge. And then of course, just right underneath my bang, even though I cover my bang.
What was the reason? I just explained the reason. What was the reason, bitch? I don't need to...
Just in case the wind blows, you know? You want to make sure it's all done up there. Okay, I'm going to set the rest of my face, and I'm going to use the Ultimate Brush Set and Go. This is new from Urban Decay. I've not tried this yet, so we're going to see how it sits on my skin on top of this Kat Von D, and I'm not going up high into that concealer area because I already set that with the Becca. I don't feel like I need to set my whole face with the Becca just because the rest of my face is oily except for that under eye area, so I usually set with a different powder. Everything is set, and I'm going to go ahead and use my Kevyn Aucoin contour book to contour my face. I use light and medium, as you know, and we are just going to create that signature James Holland contour that you're always gonna see on this channel until someone smarter than me tells me I look crazy, and then I'll change it. But until then, like I've said before, it's my contour. I do it how I want. If you don't like it, change the channel. And I mix into light and medium to do that. And I take in my Marc Jacobs brush and just blending. And then I'm gonna take a smaller brush and I go down into there. I guess there's my beard, right? You can't think of the word to say. So you see, you know, as I'm blending it, what it ends up doing is it creates darkness right here. So it pulls your jaw out further and it gives me that wider face illusion, which is what I'm going for. I want to have a wide face. Don't ask me why. I just like it. I like having a wide face. And you really get to do that when you pull it down. Okay, I went ahead and contoured my nose off camera for the most part. And I'm going to go ahead and bake along my side of my nose. I almost said my nose sideline, which I guess makes sense, right? The nose sideline to bake. I'm not going to come into this area again because I don't want to accentuate any texture. And then, of course, I'm going to come down here and clean up this part of my contour because I really want this to be super, super light. It's another way of making me look wider. And then I'm going to bake there and then up top, and I don't accentuate all the way down, just that top part. And while that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and use the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Bronzer. This was recommended by one of you guys on one of my videos. I think it was the Fenty video. So I went ahead and bought it, and I really do like it. So thank you to the person that recommended this. And it makes me look
so pretty.
Okay, we can brush off the bake now. We don't need to leave it on there all day. I'm all bronzed. Now I think it's time to do my eyes. Now normally I would do my eyes first, but I wanted to quickly do the foundation and see how the foundation would sit as I did everything. To do the eyes, we're gonna use the Violet Voss Bright Vibes palette. This is a neon pressed pigment palette. Okay, so first and foremost, it's a pressed pigment palette. So you need to be careful when you're using these eyeshadows because they're not really eyeshadows, they're pigments. So you get a lot of color payoff, but it may stain your eyes. So if you are worried about your eyes staining, it's probably not a palette for you because you're probably gonna do that just because they're pressed pigments. It is a really great price point. I think it was $30 and I had like a 20% off coupon, so that was nice. Let's take a look at the palette. Oh no, it's broken!
You alright? No, I'm not alright.
That's okay. So let's take a look at the palette. The blue is a little broken here, but we can look at all the other colors. I mean, as you can see, all of these are neons. They're like, holy cow. They are so bright. They're honestly going to be so fun to play with. First, I'm gonna prime my eyes using the Anastacio Eye Primer, and I know this is gonna explode when I open it. I can feel it. It's gonna just come out. Ooh. Okay, we're good. So we're going to go ahead and just prime the eye a little bit. And remember with this, a little goes a long way. So you don't need a ton of product on here to get a good result. You just take a little tiny bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is dip into neon, which is the yellow color. I'm going to put that on my brush. This is a M441 brush. And I'm just going to blend this out here. I'm just going to go ahead and put this right here. And this neon yellow is definitely neon. It's like a highlighter. So this is not like a yellow you're going to see in a typical rainbow palette. This is definitely a bright neon yellow, which I appreciate. Okay, now I'm going to go into the color Awesome. And this is with an M507 brush. And I'm just going to blend all that up into my yellow. That is honestly so beautiful. All of these are matte shades, which you know I love a matte palette. So I'm really super excited about the fact that all of these are matte shades. I'm into it, Violet Voss. I'm into it.
That is amazing. Wow. Like, oh my God.
I'm gonna go back in with neon and just hit this up in here again, just blending. All right, now I'm gonna take the color Fanny Pack, which is this deep pink color, and I'm gonna go in right here and hit just the outer part of my lid. The only color that this palette is kind of missing is a red, which I'm not mad about because I have enough reds, but... Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to go in with the color Acid Wash, which is a bright blue color, and I'm going to hit this inner corner area. I'm just kind of blending in the Fanny Pack and the Acid Wash. I know it sort of looks crazy right now, but I promise you it will look good in the end. Kind of looks like a highlighter attack. All right, I'm gonna go back into the neon and just blend down into the blue. Okay, on that lower lash line, I'm just going ahead and taking the Awesome color again and just blending it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and take Acid Wash and bring it in here, just so we get a gradient on the bottom that matches the top. Okay, now that my face looks nice and bruised and broken, I'm going to go ahead and use the CXC Beauty Dual Tip Eye Definer pen. It is honestly a game changer. I usually don't like felt pens because they tend to dry out as you're going. This one is super pigmented, very black, and it does not dry out at all. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye and put on some lashes, and I'll be right back. Okay, the other eye is done, and now that I look like a crazy goth vampire, we can continue with our look. So let's move on. I think we're on blush. For blush, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Peachy Love palette. I'm gonna use Nectarine and just hit and give a little color to my face, right in the apples of my cheeks. This eye look was a little more intense than I planned on, but you know, it's perfect for like going to church with your mom. Period. You know, it's just perfect for those everyday run to Publix or Starbucks moments. I'm gonna blend my blush up into the side of my face. Now I'm gonna take the Milk Flex highlighter. This is in shade Lit, and I am going to highlight my face. Okay, so now I'm going to line my lips with the Kylie Bear. That's my go-to lip liner, and I overline them just a little bit. Now I'm going to take the Tarte Glossy Lip Paint. This is in shade Goals. I like this because it's like a mixture between a lipstick or liquid lip and a lip gloss. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
The best of both worlds, like when you take an upper and a downer at the same time.
Okay, so this is the final look. I know it's a little bit more extreme than probably we were expecting, but I don't hate it. The foundation, my jury's kind of still out on. I don't necessarily like the amount of texture that's showing through. It's just kind of accentuating a lot of my texture, so if you do have textured skin, I probably wouldn't do this. I really do like the finish. It is a matte finish, but it's not like super matte. But I'm not necessarily a fan of the foundation. Will I keep using it? I'll probably try it a couple more times and see if with different primers I can work with it. But as far as the new product launches go, there's so many great foundations that came out, like Urban Decay, like the Milk Flex Stick, like Beauty Bakery, that this one's gonna kind of go toward the bottom for me. I do like the palette a lot. I can see myself using this palette. You can go really, really heavy and really, really dark with the colors, or you can kind of keep it light and keep it that neon look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate the time you take to sit and watch my videos. If you would please give it a big thumbs up. I hope you like these product reviews. I hope they help you in determining which products to buy and which ones to avoid. And I will catch you next time.